if you have seen Arjun Rampal in person, then you would have definitely been shocked after watching Daddy's trailer. I am Soumita and I am with National Award winner Arjun Rampal and the person who saw Arun Gowli in him, director Oshim Aluwalia. Welcome to Bollywood Life, Arjun and Oshim.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us, have your kids watched the trailer? What was their reaction like?
They know me, and they get scared every time I sign a film because they don't know actually what I'm going to turn out becoming for the rest of the 2 years or year or whatever that's going to become. But I remember during Ra.One when I shaved my head, they were very, very upset. Okay, but this time it was okay. They were like, but why do you have to look like this? Why do you have to do this? And they feel like that sometimes. But then I guess now they've gotten used to it. They know that this is my line of work.
Yeah. Okay, Arjun, I'm sure that, getting the look is relatively easy, but how did you get into the skin of the character of when you're playing a gangster, who obviously has shades of grey and so.
But I think the biggest thing was when Oshim told me that I had to look like him, and he said that there's no way I'd be able to play the part if I didn't look like him.
Yeah.
And I agreed with him 100%. So he said Gowli has a very distinctive nose, he's got a very distinctive style about him, a body language about him. You have to get all of that. I don't want to see Arjun in this film. I want to see Arun Gowli. And so the look test was very, very critical. But the rest kind of, it comes in with all the research.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oshim, I would like to ask you that Arun Gowli was in the news for a long time, has been in the news for a long time. So I would not say it's like everything is known about him, but like people who are interested in, politics and stuff like that, they pretty much know a lot about Arun Gowli. So why did you choose a character like him, to make a biopic?
See, actually the funny thing is that the choice of character didn't come from me, and in some way it came to me from Arjun, and actually didn't even come to Arjun. Arjun was asked to do a film where he was playing Arun Gowli. So he got interested in Arun Gowli, and he'll tell you the story. But then essentially he came to me and said, hey, I want to do it, another way, a different way.
Right.
And I had my hesitations about making a filmy gangster film. I didn't really want to do that with the item numbers and also my scene. I didn't want to do it. Yeah. So he said, listen, I want to do it the way you would do it.
Like you already mentioned that whenever a biopic is made, or especially on gangsters, there's always a pressure on the director and the actor that, have you glorified the gangster? But do you think somewhere the audience also, वो end में वो एक happy story हमको चाहिए होता है कि if this is the central character, we want a certain happy angle. The audience also expects a bit of it. So how did you handle that did you have that in your mind while you're making the...
See, the thing is, first I should say that this is not a typical biopic. This is a true life story, and I don't think we've ever had one like this in India, where you actually have the authorization where you can use the word Arun Gowli for the character. I mean, we're talking, it's a very different kind of film in terms of, it's not a fictional, cooler version, the guy's not wearing like Dolce & Gabbana and walking down the street. This is like the real deal here. And we haven't seen those. We've seen them maybe in Hollywood or international films, but we really haven't gotten into characters like that, right? So there's a degree where it just feels wrong when you suddenly go off, And actually what I said when I first met Arjun, I said there's so much masala in this guy's life anyway. You really don't need to fabricate it. You don't need to go back every instance of 40 years of this life, So
and it's adrenaline.
I don't know. So there's no need, it's never going to be a boring film. This guy's having minute by minute, sort of events. So I think when you ask how do you connect to the character, for me I think it's lazy to make you connect to the character by saying, okay, chalo, now let's give him a rousing speech at the end and we'll all root for the guy. It's a very lazy approach because A, it's glorifying him, and B, it's not being true to the guy he is. It's actually a much more interesting approach to say, I love this guy, I'm rooting for this guy, not because he's good or bad, but because what a life, man. 40 years, I feel for somebody who's gone through that. Whether they deserve prison or they don't deserve prison, you get to decide that. I'm not going to decide that for you, give you some propaganda and send you home. That's not the kind of filmmaker I am. I want you to feel for him because you've gone through his life, And that's good enough for me, I think.
Truly. As a filmmaker, just out of curiosity, did you get any extortion calls from Underworld while you were making this film?
I got some good calls, I have to say, some funny calls. I got a really bizarre call from Satara where a woman called me and asked me if I could help her set up a matka den.
Ah.
Yeah, and I thought I was quite flattered, that she asked me. But then I thought, hey, I mean, I'm feeling quite gangster about myself. Then I realized she actually wanted a meeting with Daddy in some shape or form.
Ah.
And she said, kisi ne bataya ye, and it became like this kind of myth. So I think the fact is there was a bit of, and the way I cast is I tend to cast a lot of people who are from that space. Either mini gangsters themselves or people who are ex-shooters or whatever, because I think it gives a lot of authenticity to the film and what it does. But that's not a normal way of working, right? Because you have Arjun on set, like he said, there is risk because you could have somebody who's actually a gangster that's going to extort from you while you're shooting.
Yeah.
You have characters that are in that space.
Yeah.
And actually, I know who it was. We had a midget who I worked with on my previous film, and he's kind of a bad midget. He's a bit crooked. But he's a good friend of mine. And I think he gave my number to this girl who thought, and it was very funny because she said, me and my boyfriend, who's a policeman, wanna start this matka den. Can you introduce us to Daddy? And I said, listen, I'm just the director. I don't know him.
This is interesting.
Yeah, so it's just one, but there were lots like this.
Yeah.